Good morning, friends. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. Let's get our streaming key operating over on Instagram so that we can go live there too. There she goes. There she blows. Super interesting live today. I'm really excited to talk about this. Would you rather play the lead for 6 weeks or understudy off-Broadway for 5 months? That is the question we are digging into today on the Working Actor NYC. This is the daily, the morning report from the Working Actor NYC, and this is your place for real life stories, insights, and strategies for building your acting career. Let me know where you are in the world and what you're working on in your acting career. It is Thursday, August 6th. Super interesting stuff to talk about today. Actors spend so much time trying to get a job that we don't talk about enough what happens when you have to choose between two. Now, you can make the right decision for your bank account and the wrong decision for your career, and you can make the right decision for your career and be miserable doing it. So here is the dilemma, and let me know if you recognize this. Let me know if this resonates with you. A dear friend of mine called me yesterday, the day before yesterday, with this very dilemma, and he wanted my advice about it. He has already committed to and signed a contract for a regional theater job. It is a show he's done before. It is a role he has played before. It is a small but respected theater. It's 6-ish weeks of employment, but most importantly, it's a director he specifically wants a relationship with because that director has connections to Broadway material and he thinks this is going to be, and I agree with him, a good opportunity to build a relationship with somebody who's on the rise in the industry. And he wants to start building a relationship with that director, and this is a great opportunity for that. But then along comes an offer for an off-Broadway contract. Thanks, Maryam. I appreciate the likes. Thank you for being here. Let me know where you are in the world and what you're working on in your acting career. Hey, Parlin S., thank you for being here. So then along comes this offer for an off-Broadway contract. It would be roughly 5 months of employment, which obviously is a much better financial opportunity. It keeps him in New York City, which is key to staying top of mind for casting directors and opportunities here. But for the duration of that contract, he would be an offstage understudy. He has already performed understudy tracks on Broadway, and he's worried about becoming perceived in the industry primarily as an understudy. What job are you taking between those two choices? Lead in a regional theater where you get to meet a director you want to work with, or the offstage understudy in an off-Broadway contract that would last longer? Maryam is currently writing their first short movie as a director. Excellent work, Maryam. I appreciate that. That is excellent level creativity. I'm so inspired by that. I would love to know what your film is about. What's your elevator pitch? Ugh. I have to admit, Maryam, I did spend some time developing a TV pilot for myself, writing a TV pilot for myself. And as I sort of got involved into the world of being a screenwriter, I realized it was all about elevator pitches and what else are you working on? And I think, I don't know if that's where I got scared, but I think that's where I got a little overwhelmed. Hi, SS8822LK. I think I got a little into the territory of, is this what I actually enjoy? Is this part of the process that I actually enjoy? I enjoyed the writing. I enjoyed the creating the characters and imagining the world of the TV show and bringing that to life. I think the actual business side of being a writer started to uh, get away from what I really wanted to do. Let's check in on Instagram. L. Morgan Lee is here. Hi, my sweet friend. Good to see you. Thank you for showing up. Let's see, over on YouTube, we have Jen Lowry. Good morning, Jen. And we have Emily Mendoza. Good morning, Emily. Thank you for joining us. So the dilemma here is that a friend of mine called and we had a long discussion because he is trying to decide what to do. He has committed to this regional theater gig, which he's signed a contract for, and it starts rehearsal in a few weeks. And but it's a role he's played before in a show he's done before, a small but respected regional theater for 6 weeks. But it's a director that he is really interested in building a relationship with. Flip side, he's now been offered an off-Broadway contract, so it would probably last about 5 months. It would be a better financial decision, but it's an offstage understudy role, and he is scared about becoming known in the industry as an understudy. He has already understudied on Broadway, and he's scared that that is how the industry is pigeonholing him when he knows that he has so much more to offer. So the question today is, which job do you take? We're going to play actor, career, deal or no deal. And what I offered to him, Tato, somebody shows up every day and asks me to say that. I don't know what bot is changing their name every day, but every day somebody asks me to say happy birthday to that person. Look, my advice to my friend was, you can't get this wrong. You really can't get this wrong, because both choices contain something valuable. The regional job has a role, it has a relationship and visibility to a director that he values, right? The off-Broadway job offers money and stability and 5 months in New York and proximity to the industry. So the question isn't which job is better. The question is, better for what? And I encouraged him to separate the paycheck from the career strategy, because business doesn't just mean money, right? A relationship with a director you specifically want to know is a business asset. 5 months of financial stability is a business asset. Being physically in New York City for 5 months is a business asset. Playing a substantial role is a business asset. Being associated with a respected off-Broadway production can be an asset. They're simply different assets. So instead of which job is better, the question becomes, what does each job give me that I don't already have? It's tricky, L. Morgan, right? L. Morgan is saying the director relationship has already been started with him being cast. I agree with that. I did. The worry for me was that because this job starts in less than a month, if he were to bail at this point, does he burn a burgeoning relationship, a relationship that's just begun through him being cast? Or does that director go in 6 months when they're looking at other projects, go, oh, Albert was really great, let's call him in? Or does he say, Albert was really great, but he did bail on the project at the last minute? It's a, so, uh, oh, I'm getting asked for my appeal. Okay, I hear you, TikTok. I see you. Thank you, Go. Thank you, Bunmi. Thank you, Mayumi174. Thank you, Taboo. Thank you, Flato. Hi, yes, Raleigh. I am your cool uncle. I'm your uncle actor. I see all your questions. Oh, cool. Mariam, I'm going to come back to that. I do want to know about this line in your movie, and I'm going to come back to it. But I just want to dig into this thought a minute because to me, this is sort of super interesting. So, getting back to my friend's dilemma about which job to take, his fear is that he doesn't want to become known as an understudy. I mean, one understudy job doesn't make you an understudy, right? But there's information in this sense of spending because it's an offstage track and not an onstage track. There's also information there about he doesn't want to be off stage for 5 months. It's not necessarily a main reason to reject it, but it's important information as well. There's a huge difference between I'm taking this understudy job because I'm scared to turn down 5 months of employment, and I'm deliberately taking this understudy job because it gives me 5 months of financial stability in New York City that I'm going to leverage, right? It's the same contract, but you've got two completely different strategies there. One is sort of based out of fear, and one is sort of, and this is what I really encourage him to get into. If you can become very clear about what your strategy is for how to use those 5 months in New York City when you're doing a job that you kind of not interested in or don't want to do. If you can be very clear about your strategy in that time, then it's valuable. It's literally what I said to him was if you take the 5 months, use the 5 months. It can't just be, oh, great, I'm unemployed until, I'm employed until January. It becomes about what can 5 months in New York City make possible for me. It's a deliberate sort of use of that runway to strengthen casting relationships, to take targeted classes and workshops, to pursue TV and film auditions, which don't show up if you're out of town. Um, Maybe it's your chance to update your materials, to create work by collaborating with others. Um, and let's be real. I'm sure there are people attached to that production that he can build relationships with. Yeah, the how far away is it? Like, what part of the world is it in? I don't think it's in Missouri. I don't want to give details too much, but I think the gig starts in less than a month, just under a month. So I just think he needs to separate the money from the business. Like there's the money assets, but then there's also the sort of the business assets that don't look like money. But I think if he's going to take the job that would be less creatively satisfying to him, I think he just has to have a clear strategy for how he's going to use that time. But then, let's not romanticize the regional job either, right? Because his thinking about the regional job is that, you know, it's his chance to build a relationship with a new director who has been an associate on Broadway shows. And of course, there's a part of him that's thinking maybe this director will like me and someday put me on Broadway, right? And I sort of think I still I think there's a question in there about would I still want this 6-week experience if absolutely nothing came from this relationship afterwards? If it's about, yes, I like the role, yes, I respect the theater, yes, I want to work with this director and will enjoy doing the show, great, then it's easy. In the end, I said to him, I think he would be wasted taking the offstage understudy job, and I don't want that for him. I think I suspect that that's how he would feel about it. and it's sort of, why am I sitting backstage when I could have been playing a role? The money may not compensate for that, you know, artistically. But he could also be 3 weeks into rehearsals for the show that he's already done and thinking, "I gave up 5 months of New York employment to do a show I've already done." So it's worth sort of emotionally inhabiting both of those scenarios and playing them out, to see. I think there's just genuine questions that we can ask ourselves when we're faced with this sort of, dilemma. What does each opportunity give me that I don't already have? And which one moves me toward the career that I'm actually trying to build? Uh, you can also think about, what am I hoping will happen afterward, and how much of that is actually sort of within my control. Look, in the end, the best job isn't always the best career move, and the best career move isn't necessarily the best job. You have to know what it is that you're building. And that was my advice to my friend. Okay, Mariam, over on TikTok is sharing. Oh, wow, I've missed a lot of comments over on TikTok. Oh, here we go. Okay, here is a line about my movie. He wakes up in another world and fights to get his reality back. But was it ever his reality? Ooh, it sounds complex. I like it. Has a little bit of the Matrix vibes. It's the interesting thing about the Matrix. I sort of feel as though that went very tech sci-fi, and I wonder if there's a sort of more human, more realistic way of digging into that question. I love it. It sounds super interesting to me, Mariam. I would listen to your pitch. Okay, and then we get all the dirty stuff. Hello, Asep Sarama. Hi, little dog. Yo, Unc, what do you think about Mamdani, New York City new mayor? Well, he's hardly a new mayor. He's been there for a while now, but he's doing a lot. He's managed to get a lot done in a short period of time, and I'm impressed with somebody who can balance a budget like that. Who do I think built the pyramids? Israel or Palestine? Do you usually play the villain or the hero in movies, sir? Every villain is a hero in their own mind. They're doing what is best for them. But from the outside perspective, I definitely don't tend to play the hero. It is rare that somebody in my shoes gets to play the hero. Uh, do I tend to play nice people or villain people? I enjoy playing both. And it's interesting because a lot of the roles that I play end up start out as um, the boss with bite or the elegant menace, but that hides their humanity, and the humanity of them gets revealed. Good question, Maria Gabon. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's actually super realistic and psychological. I love that, Mariam. This sounds super interesting to me. Good morning, Dr. Mohammed Zangana. Hello, Yanni. Farid Haina. What movie can I find you in? I will watch. The movies that I've been in are very obscure. I agree, El Morgan. Focusing on strategy also helps keep the situation active, whichever way he goes. That's really helpful. I try to be helpful. And this is not a client, this is a friend. So he didn't pay me. He pays me in love. Oh, Mr. Anthony Wayne was here for a second. Sorry, Farid. yeah, the movies that have been very obscure. One is called Easter Mysteries, and the other one is called Miles, starring Molly Shannon and Paul Reiser. I'd be amazed if you could find them. I don't think they did well enough to have a streaming life, but please surprise me. But you can also check out all the rest of my television credits on IMDb. Look up Benjamin Howes on IMDb, and you'll find all of the titles that I have been in. Oh, thank you. Yes, I'm very, very fond of this, my Sharpie yellow, sweatshirt. I've got all the air conditioning going because it's really humid in New York City right now, so hi, Hadi. Do Obi-Wan Ben Kenobi wants to know if I like Forrest Gump. I do like Forrest Gump. Um, I like Forrest Gump. I haven't seen it in many years. Uh I just remember being fascinated by the evolution of Tom Hanks because he was always this sort of comedic character, and then all of a sudden he started playing these dramatic roles, and Philadelphia and into Forrest Gump. It was just a sort of interesting evolution because we became. I think I became aware of Tom Hanks in Big, and it was just like this huge, big, silly, this huge, big, silly character piece, and then all of this humanity started pouring out of Tom Hanks, and we love it. Hello, good morning, Arlene. Thank you. These glasses do make me feel confident, and you want to know why? Because on the inside of the frame, they say, "Can you read that? Benjamin is hot." Wait, for $5 extra when I ordered these glasses, they say, "You can write something on the inside of your glasses, of your frame." And I was like, "Sure, I'm down." Uh, Miles is on YouTube. Is it really? Oh my gosh. Ellen Morgan is letting me know. So there you are, Fareed. You can go to YouTube and watch the movie Miles, starring Molly Shannon and Paul Reiser, and featuring a very small Benjamin House, uh, which was it was so weird because we shot it in a school that's not far from here where I live, and so I was actually able to walk to work. That never happens. So there you go. You can watch. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Which would you prefer, me or Anakin? Obi-Wan all the way. Come on. Um, I did recently rewatch all of the Star Wars films because I was making my way through Andor, and I wanted to sort of get a sort of chronological uh, 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 perspective on the whole thing. And of the Star Wars movies, J.J. Abrams was my favorite director. There you are. I said it. I said it out loud. J.J. Abrams made my favorite Star Wars movies. Is that controversial? Someone tell me if that's controversial. Uh, do I like Tom Cruise? He's fine. Um, Power Loves Wins says that is not controversial to them. Thank you, Power Loves Wins. Is college a scam? No, I had a great time in college. But then also, I went to college in Australia where it doesn't cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, totally different experience for me. What I will say about college is that my college friends are still my ride or die, my are still my ride or die besties. Uh Powers loves wins. Let's like everybody mostly. That makes me laugh. I will tell you, actually, fun facts. The other thing that I did last night was that I went to the uh, one of the New York City premieres of Ted Lasso season 4. Is that right? J.J. Abrams, I'm telling you. Oh, was he underrated? Okay. I thought they were they were my favorite iterations of that universe. And I really enjoyed those films. I thought they were so cool to look at. And there was some very artistic shooting going on there that I really enjoyed. But yes, went to a premiere of episode 1 and 2 of Ted Lasso last night, and there was a Q&A with Hannah Waddingham and Juno Temple and some of the other cast members, including 3 of the new cast members. Oh, my little cutie neighbors are outside. And it was fun to sort of see them. There was also a reception afterwards, but we were hungry and we went to Five Guys for burgers instead of going to the fancy Italian restaurant to mingle with Hannah Waddingham. I don't know if Hannah Waddingham and Judo Temple would have even gone to that, or if it just would have been other. I'm not allowed to say what it was, why I was there, but my computer is right here. I am not learning English. I'm pretty good at it. I'm not hiring virtual assistants. Uh, love the way all of a sudden over on TikTok things just go off the rails. Good morning, YouTube. YouTube's very quiet today. Normally I get lots of dirty comments in the YouTube as well. But I'm not seeing anything over there. Let's see. But yeah, it was an opportunity for me to hang out with Patrick Richwood, my bestie, who we are doing this weekend. We are doing our live podcast this weekend because I had technical issues last weekend. So we're doing a live podcast this weekend, and we're going to be talking about what does creativity actually look like, because there's this sort of dilemma for actors, which is that we don't get to. Thanks, Power Loves Wins. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your support. If you have any gifts to throw my way, I'd be super grateful. It always helps the live with the gifts. So thank you for being here. But yeah, this weekend on the podcast, we're going to be talking about creativity and what it looks like, because as actors, we often have to wait for permission to do what we love to do. And, it's like we're waiting for the casting director to let us feel like an artist, to let us feel like actors, because we're waiting to be cast in a show. We're waiting to be cast in a project. And I say, take radical ownership of your creativity and express it in as many forms as possible, whether that is, or we have to create the thing we want to do. That's exactly it, El Morgan. I am sick and tired of coming across actors on TikTok where it's like, I hate it when people tell me that as an actor, I have to create my own work. I'm not a writer. I'm not a director. I'm not a producer. You're not being asked to accept that actors do it all the time. It's how Matt Damon and Ben Affleck became Hollywood royalty, was because they got sick of being passed over for the lead role, and so they wrote their own movie. And yes, it became Good Will Hunting, and yes, they won an Oscar for it. You just have to put the energy in the direction where you get to take creative ownership of your life. And it can look like a million things. Do you know what I did this weekend? I built a fence. My backyard now has a new fence. My front yard now has a new faux living wall that has 500 LED lights all through it that looks beautiful from the street and spectacular. And I love it. And my neighbors love it. And that is also creative. I just love making things, and I'm not waiting for permission from anybody else to do it. There are no sort of tangible assets that I can get. My acting career isn't going to get a tangible win from building a fence or an art project that lives on the front wall of my house. But that keeps my imagination stimulated, and it keeps me active, and it keeps my creativity humming along. Oh, Morgan, of course you built all these new things. Yeah, I can't help it. Oh my God, I wish I could show you. We have some friends, family coming over tonight, so I made a cake. That's creative. That I created a cake yesterday, which I'm gonna frost today. Good morning, Indonesia. Thank you for being here. Oh, Hi's got the same hoodie. Yep. This came from a supermarket in where were we? Oh, Indiana, in in Kokomo, Indiana. Ah, yeah. Um, yeah, I say creative. So that's what we're going to be dealing with on the podcast live this weekend on the Working Actor NYC, on whichever channel will be live on YouTube, will be live on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and wherever you prefer to watch, we'll be live on those channels. Come and join us. Come and join the conversation. Tell us all about your creativity and what stimulates you. Because I say you don't wait for permission to be creative. You get to create things every day. And that's what Patrick and I will be digging into this weekend. So please come check it out and join the conversation. 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. What is Pacific? 10 a.m. Pacific. We'll be live right here on whatever platform you are currently watching us on. We will be here. So, all right, my friends, I will be right back here tomorrow at 8 a.m. For another daily morning report. I'll see you then. Wherever you are in your acting career, you got this. Keep going. See you tomorrow at 8 a.m. All right, friends. Thanks for being here. And I will see you tomorrow, bright and early.